Before today ends, a secret that lived in whispers is stepping into the light, and it's about to change everything you thought you knew. For years, people watched, guessed, waited. A story that felt unfinished lingered in the background of interviews, red carpets, and quiet glances that said more than words ever could. No confirmations, no denials, just silence and hope. Then, without warning, the silence broke. An unannounced press gathering was called in Istanbul, described only as a deeply personal update. Reporters arrived expecting something safe. A future collaboration, perhaps. A ceremonial reunion for the holidays. Nothing more. They were wrong. When Emin stepped forward, the room felt different. His voice didn't rush. His posture didn't waver. And in a single sentence, he rewrote the narrative that millions had been speculating about for years. Before the year closes, he said, they will no longer be two separate paths. They will step into the new year united, legally, publicly, permanently. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Pens froze. Cameras hesitated. It was the kind of moment where disbelief fills the air before sound returns. Then İlsu spoke, not loudly, not dramatically, just honestly. She admitted that some connections don't fade with time, they wait. That life, in rare moments, circles back and offers a choice. Protect yourself or be brave enough to begin again. This time, she said, they chose courage. That was all it took. Within minutes, the news spread faster than anyone in the room could process. Phones buzzed. Headlines multiplied. Across the country and far beyond it, people felt the same disbelief, followed by something warmer. Closure, joy, awe. This wasn't just an announcement. It was a revival. Those close to the couple later revealed what happened behind closed doors. Their decision wasn't planned months in advance. It wasn't orchestrated. It came after a private reunion during year-end preparations, an unguarded conversation that stripped away pride, distance, and years of unspoken longing. What started as cautious small talk turned into truth. Confessions neither of them expected to say out loud. Regrets they had carried alone. Feelings neither time nor success had erased. They realized something quietly devastating. No matter where life had taken them, the space they left in each other had never been filled. So they stopped running from the past and chose a future instead. Now, as the year comes to a close, a story once defined by what if has transformed into, at last, not as a spectacle, not as a performance, but as a promise. Some endings don't close a chapter. They reopen the book. It was Emin who finally broke the stillness. In that quiet space between them, with nothing rehearsed and nothing left to hide, he admitted what had been weighing on him for years. He told her he couldn't face another calendar turning without her by his side, that he was tired of repeating old regrets, that this time he wanted to choose differently. Those words shattered her defenses. İlsu couldn't hold back anymore. Tears came fast as she confessed what she had never dared to say out loud, that no matter how far life pulled them apart, no one else had ever reached her heart the same way. Even when they pretended to move on, something between them had stayed intact, untouched by time or distance. That night, as snow drifted softly outside and warm lights glowed across the resort, they made a decision that felt both sudden and inevitable. They were done waiting, done delaying what they already knew. Before the final seconds of the year slipped away, they would make it official. Whispers about the ceremony began circulating almost immediately. While the couple has chosen discretion, details have quietly surfaced. The celebration is expected to be deeply private. No crowds, no spectacle, only family and a handful of trusted friends. The setting will be intimate, tucked away inside the very place where their paths crossed again, styled with pale flowers, candlelight, and understated elegance. Those close to them say İlsu has selected a graceful, uncomplicated gown, while Emin will wear a timeless dark suit. There will be no live coverage, no press allowed. Just one carefully chosen photograph, planned to be shared as the new year begins, a quiet confirmation of a life-changing promise. Across the country, disbelief turned into celebration. Within moments, social platforms lit up with messages of joy and amazement. Fans poured out their emotions, calling it proof that real connection can outlast anything, that some bonds are simply meant to return. Many said there could be no better way to welcome a new year than seeing them together again. Well-known figures from across the industry echoed the sentiment. Some admitted they never believed the story was truly over. Others described the couple as a living reminder that love, when genuine, can endure years of separation and still find its way home. As the announcement drew to close, one final moment sealed it in memory. In front of the room, amid flashing lights and audible gasps, Emin reached for İlsu's hand and held it firmly. No hesitation, no distance. The gesture alone sent waves through the crowd. And then he spoke again, delivering a final line that would echo far beyond that room. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't dramatize it. He simply spoke the truth he had carried for years, that real love isn't fragile, that it doesn't shatter under distance or silence. It waits, patiently, and when the time finally aligns, it asks to be chosen. For them, that time had arrived. İlsu followed, her words unsteady but sincere. She said stepping into a new year side by side felt like the greatest blessing they could give themselves. Not a promise made lightly, but a forever they were finally ready to honor. And with that, a familiar story was rewritten, not as a role, not as a performance, but as two souls who wandered separately before realizing they were always meant to walk forward together. The year ahead would begin with a moment destined to leave its mark on an entire industry. By nightfall, the announcement had consumed everything. Television schedules were reshuffled. Online platforms flooded with updates. Conversations in studios, cafes, and living rooms all circled back to the same revelation. It didn't merely dominate the news cycle, it swallowed it whole. Calls poured in without pause. Invitations, offers, and requests stacked up faster than they could be refused. But instead of feeding the spectacle, the couple chose silence. They stepped away from the noise, retreating quietly to focus on what truly mattered, preparing for a ceremony that would carry more meaning than any public appearance ever could. Behind the scenes, emotions rippled through their families. Just minutes before stepping in front of the cameras, İlsu reached out to her sister. The call was brief, heavy with feeling. Shock gave way to tears and then to certainty. She said she always believed some stories don't end, they pause. Emin's call came next. Those close to him say his mother didn't hesitate. She didn't question. She simply gave her blessing, saying that if this was the woman he chose, then she stood with him completely. The simplicity of those words broke through his composure. When the call ended, he was reportedly left wiping away a tear he didn't bother to hide. Soon after, both families made their way discreetly toward the quiet town where the ceremony will take place, away from cameras and crowds. There, in the hours before vows are exchanged, they are expected to gather privately, sharing a meal, revisiting memories, and offering their quiet support for the future being formed. And so, as the world watches from a distance, one thing is clear. This isn't just a wedding. It's a return, a choice, and the beginning of something that waited years to finally arrive. Thank you for being here. Until next time.